Hi, Linda.
Hi, Ellen.
I can't seem to get my video going here.
Oh, gosh.
What's going on? It won't start on the. Oh, boy, I don't know. Hi, Penny.
Hi, Alan. Hi, Linda.
Hey, Penny.
Hi, Penny.
Busy night.
Yeah.
Way more Zooming than I prefer.
Yeah, huh? You're very busy.
Yeah, hopefully it'll all be come to a, well, the open space plan will come to a conclusion soon. So that will be wonderful.
Yes, huh?
Why won't this start? Huh. Hi, Mateo.
Hello.
Hi, Miriam.
Hello.
Hi.
Miriam, that's such a pretty picture that you have as your sort of backdrop.
Thanks. I painted that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, a woman of many talents.
Well, I don't know.
Hi, Linda. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Miriam.
Are we all here?
No,
Yeah, I guess so.
you don't have Henry.
I'm having trouble with my camera, so I'm going to have to be incognito.
Henry's not here and I don't see
Michael,
Michael.
Michael.
Michael's
Kara?
not here.
It's just 5 o'clock now.
Yeah, we'll wait a few minutes. Maybe I can figure out what's going on here. Oh, Michael just. Hi, Michael. You are there.
I am here. Hi there.
Hi.
Well, I don't know.
Who are we missing?
My cameras doesn't seem to
Henry.
want to start. So we'll do it. We'll do without my pretty face tonight. Well, you can't see the smiles either. No jokes.
Was there anything you wanted to share, Alan? It's just,
Like what?
well, just, you know, either the proposals or that, I didn't send out that historic flow chart, but who's the meeting host here?
Me.
Yeah, if you want to make co-host, one of us can share the documents.
Yep. I think it would be helpful at some point to share the DOR chart.
Yeah. You know,
Especially-
Linda, after you called, I went back and I looked at that email and I must have been somewhere else when I wrote it. Because the original intent was to have people just look over those, but using the chart one as the criteria, but I never mentioned the chart in there. And I don't know what I was thinking of when I wrote it, but anyway, this is the email that I sent out to everybody about the meeting. Here's Henry.
Right.
Hi, Henry.
Bridget, is Chris going to be joining us?
She had told me she was planning on joining. I know she took today off to get some stuff done. I don't know if she got held up, but she was planning to join.
Okay. I'm just trying to get everybody's names in here.
Thank you, Elaine.
Hi, Michael.
Come here.
I'm Henry.
Hey, hello.
You want to get started?
Henry, you there?
Yeah, we
He's
need to,
muted.
right?
There he
Here
is.
we go.
Don't we have to end by six
We
o'clock?
are absolutely here. Greetings,
Yeah.
everyone.
Or 6:30. So let's get started anyway. Do we have everybody seen the minutes from the last meeting? No. So nobody's seen them.
No one seen, didn't I send them out?
Yeah, you did.
No,
No, Elaine, you were gone. I took them.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Michael sent them out a week
Right.
ago. No, nobody has seen them. All right, so let's forget, we'll do the meeting. We'll do the minutes for the next meeting. So we have 2 minutes to do next meeting plus this one.
right, we have October 27th as well as our last meeting,
Right, right.
the 5th.
Okay.
November.
So the next item on the agenda, which is the only item on the agenda, is the evaluation of the determination of eligibility proposals. And we have 3. And Penny asked if we could do that one first. Because those are the minutes. 'Cause she
Hey,
has to-
Alan, before we do that, can I just share one thing?
Yeah,
So last meeting, we talked about coming up with the policy for how to terminate projects that
right.
weren't successful. So I wrote a version up and I sent it to Rita and Alan, because he's the chair, and Rita, because she was concerned about it. But I can share it to everybody and we can talk about it next meeting if that makes sense, and just put it
I
on the
think so.
agenda.
Both of those I was putting off the next meeting because we also have
Yeah.
another another document to do.
Okay.
And we
Great.
all,
So I'll just
we've got-
email that out to everybody.
all we've got is drafts right now, so that's okay. Penny, you there?
I am here.
Okay, so let's go over the determination of eligibility proposal from Penny.
Well, it's actually from the jointly sponsored by
Open space and
committee and the Conservation Committee.
Conservation
And
Commission,
Miriam is here on behalf of the Conservation Commission.
right. So which one of you want to take the lead?
Penny, why don't you take the lead?
I'm sure, I'm happy to take the lead.
So why don't you give us a quick rundown on the content, and then we can discuss the eligibility.
Okay, so I wasn't quite mentally prepared to do this. I've been preparing for the open space forum all day. So let me quickly change hats and get my thoughts clear.
Well, we could put Miriam on the line if you want.
I'm here.
Miriam's here. You want to do it, Miriam?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay,
You're off the
Penny?
hook. You're off
That's
the hook,
fine,
Penny.
that's fine. I'm happy to chime in. I just, and Bridget is also here from Kestrel, who's a partner in all of this and has worked on the project, on developing
Right,
the.
she is here.
Right.
Yes, happy to chime in too.
Okay, so go ahead, Miriam.
Yes. So this is a proposal to acquire a property for acquisition by the town to be used for conservation and passive recreation. It developed when an opportunity arose that was fairly unique. One, because there was a property for sale that was of interest to the Concom and the Open Space Committee. And also because Kestrel Land Trust was in a unique position that it has some leftover federal forest legacy funds from another project left over that have to be used by July of 2022, or they're not available. And so there was this confluence of opportunities and the timing of being able to put in a proposal to the CPC that led to this. So this is a 34-acre property that abuts Pelham Hill Road that has significant wetlands in it, including some of the headwaters for Amethyst Brook. And it's a lovely piece of property that has the potential for being developed for hiking trails and public access. And it is an area of town where there are no other conservation properties owned by the town. We're prioritizing it because there's been feedback through the open space planning process from residents that people put a high priority on public land locally in town available with clearly marked trails for passive recreation, walking dogs, cross-country skiing, and the like. We've conducted a couple of site visits. I believe there may have been another site visit this last weekend. I'm not sure if it got rained out. But there was at least one site visit where a number of us went. You were there, Alan.
Yep.
And Penny was there and I was there and Bridget wasn't there, but someone else from Kestrel was there. And that's kind of where we're at. The funding that we're envisioning would be a combination of funds, including this pot of federal funds that really is going to make up the lion's share of the purchase. We are asking for a match from the CPC because the Forest Legacy Program does require a 25% match from the town or the community. There are additional funds that we can potentially access through the Conservation Commission's land trust to augment this. And my understanding is that the Kestrel Land Trust is actively seeking additional funds. And the feedback we received is that, and maybe there's an update tonight, but that there's a very high likelihood that Kestrel will have an additional donor that would contribute a significant amount to offset some of the cost to the town. The way it would be structured is that the
town would own the land in fee. Kestrel would hold the conservation restriction and would work with the town to develop a management plan, a conservation and passive recreation management plan that would be developed around the time of the purchase if it's all approved. Did I get it all?
Yes, this is Penny. I would just add to that I am particularly enthusiastic about this because it meshes so well with what we learned through doing the open space plan rewrite. And over and over again, it was clear that what people want to do is go outside, and they want to go outside in places where they can find their way around, there's a place to park, and they feel confident that they're not encroaching on private property. So this parcel has the potential to meet all of those needs, and the Open Space Committee enthusiastically supports the proposal.
And I can just provide a few updates. So with the funding, we do have a private foundation grant that came in for this region that we are optimistic can be applied to offset some of these costs as well, but we're confirming the amount. We also received a small private donation from a community member at Shutesbury just this week who's in support of this project and heard about it. We have made an official offer with Wendy Pearson, and it's officially under offer now. We signed that offer document on Monday, and that allowed us also to stop the cutting plan that was supposed to go through. And so it'll officially stay unharvested with it under offer with Kestrel.
Anybody else?
I had a couple of questions. So when the plan is developed, the kind of recreation use plan, will there be parking there?
Yes.
I envision that. Not a lot of parking spaces, but a couple of parking spaces. And from visiting the parcel, not so much close to where Baker Road is, but if you go down towards the southern end of the property, close to where the Pelham line is, it's more level there, and it would make a much better spot to put some parking spots in.
Yeah, because I think without parking,
I agree. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Rita, me and Bridget and Jeff did a site visit on Sunday, and there's one place in particular where the guardrails sort of end, and there's a big space. It's probably like 4 cars wide. And then we also looked at some places that are flat that, you have easy access. So I think there's at least 2 places where there can be parking without any major work done.
Okay. And who would be responsible for creating the parking?
That would be, I think, a town-led initiative, but certainly Kestrel would support it, and I'm sure it could help seek funding for officially putting in parking.
I only asked because you guys are also looking for money for us for parking over at Ames Pond. So there's a cost associated with putting in some parking there.
Absolutely.
So I would think that should be part of the plan. And if there are costs, I don't think the town wants to come back and add more money to this later. That you should think about whether or not that becomes part of this ask rather than.
So one useful thing to consider is that once the open space and recreation plan is approved, it makes the town eligible for a whole range of state funding that could be used for things like this, if I understand correctly. In my mind, I feel like it's premature to figure out exactly where the parking will go, in the same way that I feel like it's premature to figure out where trails will be. I think it's normal to develop the usage plan after you own the property, in the same way it worked with the Southbrook property.
Southbrook had parking already. So all I'm saying is that if there is a cost associated with this, then it could be, it could be awarded at the time of the, of town meetings. So it doesn't have to be expended, but
Right.
if you're planning ahead, why not, if this is going to be a recreation area, then it should be included. Something should be included. I'm not asking like, where is the parking? I'm just saying it
Yeah,
should be
okay.
budgeted.
Okay. That
And
makes-
just a clarifying question, we're, I think, framing this as an acquisition project
Right.
versus,
Yeah.
a recreation project. And I'm just wondering, does that, is it possible to span that many, topics within CPC and
Yeah,
lump it
I
all
mean,
together?
it's an acquisition of open space, but I think it's also, if we're saying it's going to be used for trails, if that's the reason for us to put money up, then we should be planning for that. And,
And Rita's correct. I mean, I think you're right, Rita. And we actually checked off two CPA categories. One is
Mhm.
open space and the other is recreation.
Right.
So
There's
Elena's
nothing-
had-
out of-
Elena's had her hand up here for a while, so why don't we let Elaine get her 2 cents in?
Thank you. It has nothing to do with parking.
Put your hand down in it.
Sorry. Do you want to finish the parking and come back to me?
Well, it's up to you.
Well,
we're good. I think,
Go, Elaine, go for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so one question that I had, Bridget, you were mentioning that there was a private money grant that you received, and then another one. Does that mean that you're reducing the $68,000 ask, or?
So that's something we need to confirm. So I'm just saying that we have received some funding, but we need to confirm the exact amount. And if we can use it to reduce the requests, we will.
Okay, I
yeah.
just want to get that in the minutes.
And
Yes.
my understanding is we would know that likely before the full proposal went in, if this made it through this hurdle.
mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have one other.
Let
money
me just jump in about one thing that we want to sort of balance is that while we want to, if at all possible, reduce how much we're asking from the town for through the CPA, we also want to be prudent in our use of this conservation land trust fund. We don't want to blow it all on one property. Would prefer to, think about future planning as well, because it took a long time to accumulate that money. So I will have to balance some of that.
So the thing I was just going to ask money wise was last meeting, we talked about trying to get Amherst CPA money since it's watershed. And I was actually at an Amherst planning board meeting and it came up that, someone pointed out that Amherst water comes from Shutesbury. So I don't know, I think probably the best players in this is for Kestrel to reach out to Amherst, but it seems like we shouldn't lose that thread since their pot of CPA money is probably bigger than ours.
I
Yeah,
believe they're well into their process, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's too bad.
one of the other things we had talked about, I think Kestrel had talked about, and Bridget, you can correct me if I'm wrong. There was some discussion of seeing if the Amherst watershed, water district group wanted to be the owners of this property. And personally, I am glad they declined, and that's partly because they put so many restrictions on what you can and can't do on their property. They don't even allow hiking on much of it. So for this to be a recreational asset to the town, I think what we're considering here tonight is the better path for Shutesbury.
Yeah, I would agree, Penny. I think if there was restrictions that limited recreation, then it wouldn't be wise. But if there was a way of having them chip in, perhaps. But I would agree that if it was compromising the use, then it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Rita.
So maybe Bridget, can you explain what the $30,000 in land acquisition costs are?
Yes, so comes from due diligent costs. So that's the cost of us currently going through the appraisal for the land, doing a title review of the land, environmental site assessment, some staff project management costs, closing costs, the legal side that comes with land acquisition is really.
That's good
Mateo
things.
has his hand up, so let's give him a shot.
I'm curious about the reference in the description to the historic dam mill structure. And I'm wondering if that structure, I mean, it becomes the responsibility of the town, right? If the town owns the property. So is there down the road some obligation the town has for historic preservation there? Is that something that will be a problem with the conservation easement? Is it something that's worth preserving? I don't know.
Well,
There's
could-
not an awful lot left of it, Mateo. There's part of a dam and there's some stone foundations there. That's about it. So I can't imagine anybody would do anything with it. Do you agree, Miriam? I don't.
yeah, I mean, I think that if anything, it adds to the value of conserving this as conservation land, because it won't become somebody's private property where
Right.
Somebody can tear it down and repurpose those stones for their landscaping in their home or something. But it's not a liability. The dam has been dismantled, so it's not a danger or a risk for flooding or something like that, or maintenance. It's scenic. So if there were some trails going through there, it would be a nice walk.
Yeah, I would
Yeah, Henry.
just add also that, yeah, it would not in any way implicate the town in any financial sense from a historical commission point of view. Certainly it adds to as Miriam says, it adds to the value of it and to the preservation of such things. Moreover, there has not been a survey of that area for indigenous structures, pre-colonial structures, which are very likely there, as they are in many parts of Shutesbury. So there's a historical component here.
Yeah, possibly. Right.
So do we have to vote on if it's eligible or not?
Sorry, what, Michael?
I was just clarifying, we have to vote on its eligibility.
Yes, we do. And I was just about to call that unless anybody has any other comments. All right, does anybody have any questions about what it means to be eligible?
I have a question. Sorry, forgive my
Sure.
I'm a novice here, but we're simply voting on the eligibility of the project, and we're not sort of locking ourselves into this particular amount of money, right? Like that it
Yes.
seems to me that can change in the proposal state. Okay.
That's
thank
right.
you.
Yes,
Yeah. you can.
yes.
Yeah. This is
They
just
can
to
just go
determine-
forward.
It's just the questions of whether the project is going to, is eligible to receive funds. There's nothing in here that says this is what it's going to be right now. There'll be another proposal coming along down the line if they choose to do it. Any other questions? Are we ready to vote on this?
I make a motion to approve.
I second.
I would like to modify the motion to say that we make a motion to determine that this application is eligible for CPA purposes.
Is that okay with you,
I was
Elaine?
gonna- Yeah, I was going to I thought my motion was to approve eligibility, but that's fine. Could you restate that, Linda?
Oh, yeah, I was just wanting to have the term eligibility in the motion to be sure it's there. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah,
So just tell us how you're going to write it, Elaine, then we'll vote on
I
what you,
said I make a motion to approve eligibility.
do I hear a second?
Second.
Who? Sorry, Michael?
No, Mateo.
Hey,
Who seconded? Mateo. Okay.
Okay. So I just have one question. So in terms of our little eligibility grid, it's not necessary to state why it's eligible. It's just sufficient to say it's eligible.
it's,
It is, and the proposal states that.
it would be eligible under acquisition of open space.
Oh, yeah, no, I get that it is. I was just
Right,
wondering
but
for the
yeah,
motion.
Yeah.
Okay,
Actually, it's eligible under all three acceptable criteria. Acquire, create, and preserve. Should we vote?
Yes.
Okay. I'll start with the top. Linda,
Aye.
Michael,
aye.
Penny.
I don't think I get.
Penny's
the
right.
vote.
Welcome to the
I'm
committee.
reading my list here, which is the same list I used in my email today. Rita,
Aye.
Elaine,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Miriam's not, Penny's not. Who else?
Mateo.
Who have I missed?
Mateo.
Mateo,
Mateo
Aye.
and Hanson, aye. Did I miss anybody? Okay,
you
good.
left Bridget out.
But she doesn't get the vote.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks
very
for
much.
coming.
Miriam, you're sticking around for the signpost thing, right?
Yeah. Not rid of me yet.
All right, so the next one I had on my list was the Janowitz Lames Pond project from, again, the Kestrel Trust is involved in this.
I
So
can
Brid-
stay on and try to answer questions. I can't promise that I'll have all the answers, but
Would you like to give us a quick summary of the project? Can you do that?
that's a good question. I know that Chris has applied to seek, to improve the recreational access at Ames Pond, the Janowitz property. I'm sorry, I don't know all the details of what
Okay.
that entails, but
So my understanding is if you go over to Ames Pond today, there's a place where you normally park that's pretty well overgrown, and it's the head of the trail that goes down the lake side of the property, which is pretty much overgrown. I understand that that's the area that they're going to concentrate on for this particular proposal. Does anybody have any other different views on that?
Wait a minute. The lake side of the property?
Towards the lake, well,
No, it's on
Yeah.
it's on the opposite side of the lake. It's not on the
it's
lake.
on the opposite side of the road, but that side of the thing is the one that faces more to the lake than the other side. We got a map if you want to look at a map.
Yeah, part of the proposal. It's the,
I'm looking at it.
Yeah, well, take a look at the,
That's
Yeah.
that's not the lake. That's not Lake Wyola.
Ames Pond.
Ames
That's
Pond.
there's Ames Pond we're
That's
talking
Ames
about.
Pond, yeah.
Yeah.
That's Ames Pond. I thought when you said facing the lake that you were talking about what's on the opposite side of the road.
No,
Okay, it's
the western part of Ames Pond.
yeah, I guess the western part is kind of,
okay. Yeah,
so there's that section of there's a parking area and that section of trail that's in black dots here on the map.
yeah,
That's the area that we're talking about.
yeah.
And they're proposing to open that up and put a boardwalk and so forth. You've all read the proposal, I'm sure.
Yes.
Mhm.
I
So,
memorized
yeah.
it.
Huh? Does anybody have any comments they'd like to make on the proposal?
I had one, which I don't think Bridget can answer, but so in the proposal, under briefly describe how your project will meet eligibility, it says the proposed project meets eligibility criteria for both the recreation and historics project under CPA. But in the checkoff category on the cover page, recreation is only included. And in reading the contents, I don't see any historic. So I don't know if that's like a mistake or if there's missing stuff.
Yeah, I don't see how this would be historic.
Historic,
I
yeah,
don't either.
yeah.
It could be a cut and paste and it's just left over. So.
To keep it simple, leave it as recreation.
Yeah.
And the recreation
Yeah.
committee reviewed this. Is that correct, Elaine?
That's correct, and we support this.
So shall we,
Yeah, so I make a motion that we determine that the Ames Pond / Kestrel Trust project be approved for eligibility for CPA funds.
I'll second.
any comments?
I'm sorry, who is it that seconded?
Me, Michael.
Michael,
Yeah, me.
I'm the center of the universe.
you can write whatever you want, Elaine. Are there any comments? Or should we take a vote?
Ready to vote.
Okay, I will do the same thing I did last time. And I'll try to get the people right this time. Elaine,
Aye.
Linda,
I,
Michael,
Aye.
Rita,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Mateo,
Aye.
Hanson, aye. Passed unanimously.
This is Penny. May I ask a question of Bridget about the project?
Certainly.
Bridget, ironically, I was just walking out there in the past couple of weeks, and I'm excited to see that there will be better parking and access. My question is, I presume you'll work with the Conservation Commission because the access there is bordering on a wetland. And if you do any trail work, I think you're going to have to go through the Concom.
Yes, I know.
Linda has an answer to that.
I'm sorry, Bridget, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt.
no,
you.
go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, Penny, at the last meeting when Chris Volanti was present,
Mhm.
and she had also inquired by email, she does know that a wetland application will be required.
Fabulous. That's all I had to say. Thanks.
But it's also an existing trail, so. it's not like a
Sort
new-
of. It's sort of a trail.
Well, sort of a trail. Yeah, you can follow it, so it's a trail.
Yeah.
Yes, no, our
Any other-
plan is to permit for the trail and for any improvements to the boardwalk itself.
Very excited to hear about that. Good.
Sorry, I should have asked this earlier, but at that previous meeting, did Chris mention where the matching funds are coming from? Is that from Kestrel?
I believe she's looking at a recreational trails program grant, which is a state grant.
Yeah, it doesn't mention where they're coming from. Yeah, it's not mentioned in the body.
No.
I'm assuming that kind of information would be fleshed out more fully in the full.
It will
proposal.
be in the proposal, yeah. Any other questions, any other comments? Okay. So, we ready? Or did we do this already?
We voted,
Yeah.
right? We're number
Voted.
3.
We're on to the third one.
Yep.
It's a good thing you can't see what I'm doing. Um,
Should I
Alan,
put
I can
the
see
minutes?
you.
well, you can't see me.
We don't want to know what you're doing.
Um, I-
Don't tell us, please.
I got a dog, I got a cat, and I got, never mind. Let's go on to the third one. This is Miriam's submission.
Yes.
And, it's a Historic Preservation Commission, has to do with the post at the center, the Shutesbury Common. So Miriam, do you want to?
Yes, so the guide board is in need of repair. It's an antique historic feature of Town Common that many people have very fond feelings about, particularly because it references towns that no longer exist in the Quabbin, which is meaningful. And there is a movement afoot to try to get the mythical town of Ripton replaced back on the guide board. Maybe that'll happen. But it was repaired like in 15 years ago.
And as you can see from the photos, it needs repair and it needs some careful handling because it's, it's fragile. It's an antique. And tentatively, we're thinking about not just painting and relettering, but also improving on the top piece of it to make it more protective overall. The last time it was restored, Bob Groves put a piece of lead on it, which doesn't excite me a whole lot personally that there's lead on it. But I think that if we give enough funds available, we could look at perhaps putting a copper top on it, which I think would look better and not quite be so toxic if anybody wants to lick it. So, but we want to preserve it. We want to maintain the historic nature of it. We don't want to rebuild it and make it look brand new.
Miriam, was there any discussion about enclosing it in a glass enclosure?
No, no one has discussed that. That's an interesting thought.
Because if you just put a new top on it, the bottom of it's still going to rot away. I mean, the bottom of it is in really bad shape.
Well, the very bottom was repaired and is not, the bottom boards and the baseboards have been replaced, but it is very fragile. You're right.
Yeah.
And there's already been some patching done on some of these boards.
Yes.
And, so you can't do a whole lot of, heavy duty work on it without the boards being damaged. I've had a few conversations with various parties about it. And we also, just as an FYI, I'm sorry, let me grab this phone call. We have submitted a project notification to the Massachusetts Historical Commission because it's on their inventory. They need to be notified so they can consult if we're going to do anything. So it takes them a few weeks to respond, but I'm hoping by the beginning of January, we'd hear back from them with their feedback about what they
I'm
would.
sorry, Miriam, could you state who that was again?
Massachusetts Historical Commission.
Thank you.
So I'm hoping we will get some feedback about what their recommendations or requirements would be.
Good. Well, it might be something to think about for a future proposal for an enclosure.
I don't know. I mean, you have to think about moisture, if you,
well, you
box it up, it could get very humid and might rot faster. It's hard to know.
Well, you don't box them up completely. You leave a, yeah, anyway.
Okay, it's an interesting idea.
We can talk about that later. Any other questions or comments?
I just,
Yeah, Rita.
so the estimate, Miriam, how close do you think that is? Or was that just sort of the best guess at this point?
Well, we're still kind of waiting to get some feedback from 2 or 3 different vendors that we've reached out to. And I think when we thought about adding a piece of copper, fabricated copper, that becomes a little bit more expensive, but might be well worth it in terms of protecting it, because there's also a mildecidal benefit to having copper. It kind of keeps the rest of the structure from molding up.
Okay, great.
Copper can also be attractive to petty thieves, though. I mean, there's a significant risk in making it a target.
Stick with lead.
So, Miriam, I had one question just in terms of, if it was the amount we're talking about, which is 5,000 for the total project and 4,000 from CPC, it looks like there's a mix of matching funds. So Friends of the Shutesbury Historic and maybe the Select Board. So this will come out in the proposal, but I'm sort of curious what your level of confidence of getting other funds from either of those sources is.
Well, I'm confident we'll get something from the Friends. I'm not sure how much. I think this is something they would be very interested in. It's the kind of project I think that they would prioritize.
John said that, hang on a second. What, John?
I'm over here. In the corner. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah. The Friends will definitely.
In.
You have any idea what?
No.
No. They will donate, but there's no idea how much.
It's possible the quotes will come in lower than 5. I'm putting that out there just now, but as a placeholder. But, you know, we got to look at, you know, if it means spending a little bit more and making sure it's done correctly and safely, I'd rather see that happen.
Yeah.
Jeopardize it.
Yeah, I was just curious, that's all. I mean, it doesn't need to be stated at this point anyway. I was just
You want
trying
to
to.
pitch in, Michael? For Ripton,
Sure.
pay for the Ripton lettering?
Yeah, I'll do the Ripton
We're
letter.
gonna have a fundraiser. We're gonna auction off letters.
It's a great idea, actually.
That's a good idea. You raise some money though.
Yeah, or do it by town.
Okay.
I had a
that's-
question about the,
Yeah,
in the description, it mentions that it's been determined to be eligible for listing on the National Register and the State Register. And I'm just wondering if this is something that would help with that process of getting it registered, or is it something that would be better to wait till after it's registered, or?
You know, it's a whole big long process to get things on the National Register, and there's like about 180 properties in Shutesbury that are eligible for nomination on the register. So it's not that unique. There's a bunch of other historic properties that are on the inventory. But no, we don't have to restore it for that purpose. We just need to make sure it doesn't dissolve into oblivion.
That's a high bar.
Yeah. We're all going to dissolve into oblivion, so.
any other comments?
Just one
To
quick
move-
one.
Yeah, Rita.
The only thing I would just remind you when you're talking to people about the restoration, it should not be a replica. So
No.
that is it's very clear in the CPA guidelines that we shouldn't be paying for replicas, but,
Oh, we don't want a replica.
right,
We don't
Right,
want it. Absolutely. We want to preserve what's there.
yeah, because sometimes, you know, people are tempted to say, well, it'd be a whole lot cheaper and a whole lot faster if we
Yeah.
just
No.
rebuilt the whole thing. but-
Yeah, they did that in Montague, actually. They have a guide board that looks very similar, but it's actually a replica. It's not an
Yeah.
antique.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we actually discussed this and came to the same conclusion.
But yeah, it is, it's in the statute, so.
So at a
Thanks.
certain point, once you start replacing individual boards,
And yes,
at what point is it the original sign, and at which point? does it
yeah,
become the replica?
Right.
Understood. Yeah,
Well, we're hoping not to have to replace anymore,
Right.
but well, maybe we'll have to build a shrine for it.
You can make it a hologram or something.
so I'll make a
Okay.
motion to approve the determination of eligibility for the Shutesbury guidepost. Is that what it's called? Is that
Guide
what-
board.
Guide board.
Thank you, Rita. Do we
I
hear a
second.
second? All right, Henry, did you say?
Henry, second.
Yeah,
yeah.
Henry seconded. Okay, we'll do it again. Henry,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Miriam. Oh, wait a minute, Miriam. I did it again. You know, you're gonna have to become a member of this committee, Miriam, just so I don't make this mistake again. Right, Rita,
Hi,
Elaine,
Aye.
Linda.
Aye.
Oh, now see, you're at the bottom of the thing and I almost called you out again. Hanson, aye.
Mateo.
Did I miss anybody?
Mateo.
Mateo.
Mateo. Where'd
Aye.
Mateo go? Oh, you're there. You know, it's not a good idea following this list because it changes. And never mind. We'll do it the different way next time. Okay. It was unanimous, I believe. Are there any other comments?
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
Miriam.
you.
Thanks for
Good
coming,
night.
Mary. Do we have anything else to discuss as a committee?
Yes.
That I missed?
Yes,
Elaine,
even though Michael said that he took minutes from the last meeting, actually, the last meeting was November 11th, and I took minutes from that,
I have, let me see. what I have.
Wait,
and I sent them out.
I have October 7th.
November 22nd.
November
did-
22nd, I'm sorry, November 22nd.
Yeah, that
I
was
did-
me.
Yeah.
No, that
No?
was me.
That was
Yeah.
you?
That was me, and I sent them out. I have them on my computer.
Yeah, I have them.
So which one was, hold on, which one was me?
November 6th or something like that.
Oh, no, no, no. No, that's, it's the wrong year. Hold on.
October 27th, was that you, Michael?
27th was Michael.
Let's see. I'll,
October
yes,
27th.
that was me.
And
I
I
signed
was-
it at the bottom, October 27th.
I don't
and
know
I
what I
was
did with
November
them. They're
7th,
here somewhere.
22nd.
Yeah, so those are the ones we have for the next meeting.
Yeah, so I have the 27th and the I'm sorry, the October 22nd, 27th and November 22nd. There were
Okay, so
no
those-
other,
Did everyone get those? Because
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
you
I
all
got
should have
them.
gotten them.
So we're
Did
not
somebody
ready,
not get them?
we're not ready to vote on either of them? Staying? Okay,
We could.
I'm ready to vote on the 27th of October.
Me too.
Okay,
and I am too.
okay. I am too. I had no comments on it. Does anybody have any comments on it?
No, they were good.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Second,
Second, okay. I'm not going to do this again. I'm going to go by the pictures. Rita,
Carol, I.
Mateo?
I wasn't on the
Oh,
CPC
you
at the
weren't
time,
there.
so I'm not.
At that point. That's right. Elaine,
I was not there, so I'll abstain.
Henry, were you there? Were you on the committee at that point?
I was not on the commission. We
Okay.
came in together, Mateo and I.
Yeah, I thought you did. So Michael,
Aye.
Linda,
aye.
Ellen, aye. I think that's the only eligible voters here. Okay, good. So it's unanimous.
No. It's 4
There's
ayes
two
and one
abstains.
abstention. One abstention
Two.
or three. Three,
It's
because I,
probably
Three
three,
abstentions.
Henry and
Yeah, three.
Mateo.
Yeah, three.
Well, yeah, okay. Right.
They weren't eligible, so they abstained.
They abstained. That's right, they
That's
did.
I just want to remind us that we need an annual report.
I'm gonna have to do the planning board, so I want to not do it.
And I
Yeah,
have to do the select board. So I want to not do it.
um,
I can
I've
do
done,
it.
I've done the last three.
I can do it.
Thank you, Elaine. I'll give you a hand. Well. No, I'm serious. There's stuff, anyway,
Yeah. It's pretty straightforward.
I'll do
Yeah,
it
it
and then
is.
send it to you.
Do you have the copy of the last one?
No.
Okay, I'll send
You
you,
can, and just FYI, the annual report is posted on the whole annual report from last year is posted on the town website, so you can
that's right, it is. You can get it there.
look there. if you-
Got it. Okay.
And Linda, remind us what the due date is?
Well, it was
Preferably
passed.
the end of December, preferably.
I looked at that select board report. I'm like,
No
From last
problem.
year, yeah.
I'm going to do it differently.
I could send you my old ones.
Send me an old one.
Okay.
Okay,
So our next meeting is January 20th, when applicants can come with any questions they might have on
that's
the
right.
full process, and we can do our other duties.
And Linda, can you just run through the other dates? Do you have them there? It's January
Well,
20th.
I have January 20th, and then I have that our applications are due on the 10th of February, and so we meet on the 17th of February to review. And I know.
I had this, yeah,
Then,
okay, right, okay.
right, and then March 10th is our
The
public hearing. And March 17th, we vote and prepare the warrant. April 21st is town meeting prep. And May 19th, post-town meeting.
Right,
What date is town meeting?
last Saturday in April, right?
Yeah.
It keeps changing, like,
Well,
I used to know
is
it.
Officially the last Saturday in April, but of course, the last 2 years have been unusual.
And then it used to be the first Saturday in May for a
It
long
was,
time.
and then we had a vote to move it.
Right. But like the last 5 years, it's been different. So what's the date?
Is that the 30th, April 3rd?
When's the last Saturday in April?
That's the 30th.
Is this the 30th?
Great to know.
Can I ask a clarifying question? Go back to the annual report. If I write it and send it to Alan for review, is the rest of the committee okay with not seeing it before it
Yes.
goes to Linda?
We trust you.
Yes.
Totally.
Yeah, yes, thank you. Yeah,
With our gratitude comes trust.
yes.
Can I ask, will these, the remaining meetings be at 5 o'clock as well? Or is this an unusual time?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Is it, or all the remaining meetings at 5 o'clock? No, I assume we'll have to go
No,
back to
no,
7
this
o'clock.
this is a really bad period of time right now. And
There's so many meetings.
we moved this meeting at least 3 or 4 times to accommodate various collisions.
There's a lot, there are only what, 2 Zoom slots? Is that right, Linda? So-
Yes, and so tonight we're using the regular town Zoom slots, Becky's Zoom slot, the library Zoom slot, and I don't know what else, but,
Yeah.
and people, like meetings ending so that other ones can start, and it's, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a
Yeah, 'cause
nightmare.
the zoning board has a public hearing tonight, and then there's the forum for open space, our meeting, there's something else, I forget,
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah, it's very unusual.
So what's the January meeting date for us again?
20.
January 20th?
Okay, thank
January
you.
20th.
Will
That's
we
when we
be
meet, that's when we meet with the applicants.
If
Will
if
we
they have questions about their process, about their
Yeah, if you have
application.
questions.
Yeah.
Will we be discussing the outstanding projects? We put that on the agenda last time, and it was going to be on the agenda this time.
Let's do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we got squashed into, I just didn't.
Yep.
The
And we'll do
priority.
the
was the
And we'll do
priority
that
was
policy
the
about terminating.
for the DOEs.
Are the outstanding projects just the two, the Wyola, North Cove, and the Old Town Hall?
Mhm.
Old Town
Yeah,
Hall,
I
the
think
North
so.
Cove.
Yep.
And the cemetery finished, right?
The cemetery is finished. The community garden is, I think, in a state of limbo, depending upon what happens with the library and where the garden's gonna go. And
But that's relatively recent.
That's
I
relatively
understand it's
recent
gonna be
compared to the other
up
ones.
above, it's gonna be a lot 32 now, right? Above where the library is gonna be. Rita, you
Yes.
guys talked about this last meeting, right?
Right, right.
So was there any conclusion?
Yes, we do want it to be on 032. It just makes it easier for everyone.
Right.
But we have to, you said that we have to go to town meeting to get approval for that because
Yeah.
the town meeting vote has it behind town hall. So we have to,
So
Yeah.
we'll just put an article in on the next town meeting and to move it.
Yep.
And we just go ahead and do it. I don't think anybody's gonna object to it. I don't see any reason to.
no,
Just idle question. Is there any discussion about what happens to the old library building? What,
wait till
Yeah,
we.
wait till we get a library.
Wait till we get a library.
Mateo, you're new to town.
You're way ahead of yourself.
Be a great historic project for CPA.
True,
Would.
it would
Mhm.
be an interesting.
Okay, I make a motion that we adjourn.
Anything else? I'm sorry, Rita, what?
I said I made a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
I'll second.
Anybody opposed? Unanimous, we adjourn.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Night.
Yeah.
Good night.
Doing again.
Thanks, Ellen.
Pardon? Oh,